Hey guys, how's it going? I kind of just wanted to do a quick wrap up video for November and then also a TBR for December. Don't mind me, I'm a little lazy today. I had exams this morning, so I'm kind of exhausted and brain dead, and all I want to do right now is cuddle up and read. So I'll make this video quick and short. So November overall, I think, was actually a really good month for me for reading, especially the last week or so. I kind of just plowed through a lot of books because of my Goodreads book reading goal for the year. I had like 13 books or something to get through. So I was like, oh my God, I have finals and everything. There's no way I'm going to get to that. So I need to start reading some more ASAP. So I'm now down to 5 books before I reach my goal by the end of December, which I got that in the bag. I'm not worried about it. So let's get started. The first book that I completed for November is The Collector's Society by Heather Lyons. Sorry, the glare. I don't have the actual book form. I just have it on the ebook. And I know I've actually done a review on this, and I'll link that to below prior to this video, but I love Heather Lyons, and I love everything she's ever done, and I love this book, and if you haven't read it, I highly suggest looking into it. The second book that I completed for November is The Rise of Nine by Pittacus Lore, which is book 3 in the Lorien Legacies, and this is actually a book club book that I read last month, and I love this series so far. I watched the movie and I didn't read the book, and I enjoyed the movie, but then I read the book, and I loved the book, the first one, and I never got around to reading the rest of the series until book club. So we're in the middle of reading this series right now. So if you haven't looked into this series, it is wonderful and very high action, fast-paced, and a wonderful science fiction read, so I do recommend it. The third book that I read for the month of November is Promise of Shadows by Justina Ireland. Again, sorry for the glare, it is a little hard to see it, but this book was wonderful. I didn't enjoy it as much as some of the other mythology books that I am obsessed over, but it still was a really, really wonderful read. If you haven't heard of it before, it's about a character named Zephyr who happens to be a harpy, and she gets punished and sent to Tartarus, and then she breaks out of Tartarus and falls in love, and there's a whole big epic battle and, you know, journey, and she's the hero, and the quest, all of that. But anyway, it's a really good read. I do recommend looking it up. And again, that's Promise of Shadows by Justina Ireland. The fourth book that I read in the month of November is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. This was another book club book that I had to read for the month. Personally, I wasn't a really big fan of it. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't even get to really watch the movie because I'm terrified of spiders, so I turned it off pretty much in the beginning of the movie. I read about 50 to 60% of the book thoroughly, and then after that I kind of just skimmed a lot of it because it was boring to me. I understand that he wrote it for his daughter, and that's wonderful and everything, and it's a scary book, don't get me wrong, but it's just, it wasn't my cup of tea. But if you watch the movie and you like the movie, you would probably love the book, because don't we all? The next book I read for the month of November was Fool Me Twice by Mandy Hubbard. I loved this book, and I am still in love with this book, and I'm actually looking up books trying to find something similar to this book. Before, I couldn't really get into anything that was not supernatural, paranormal, fantasy, something magical element of some sort, but I decided to try since I read The Fault in Our Stars, and I loved it, and If I Stay, so I'm trying to branch myself outwards, which with this one, it doesn't have any of those characteristics, and I loved it. It's about a girl who falls in love with a guy while they work at a ranch over the summer, and then it's a summer fling, and then they go back to school, and he basically didn't dump her or anything. He just gets back with his ex-girlfriend, and then the next summer, they're back at the ranch working together, and it's really awkward, and she hates him, of course, for breaking her heart, and during a performance or a prep for a performance, he falls off of his horse and hits his head, and he forgets the last year, and last thing he remembers is being with her. So freaks her out, and her best friend ends up talking her into using it to her advantage and tricking him into falling in love with her this time and breaking his heart in the end. But it's a romantic comedy, and I loved it, and it is a wonderful read. It's very quick and easy to get through, so if you haven't heard of it, I do recommend it, and it is Fool Me Twice by Mandy Hubbard. The next book that I read for the month of November is Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick. Again, this was another branch out for me because it didn't have any type of magical realism in it at all, but I really did enjoy this book. It's a romantic thriller, and it's very fast-paced, very suspenseful. It's got a murderer in it, it's a mystery, and a girl who falls in love, and I'm not going to say anything else because if you haven't read it, I don't want to ruin any type of aspect because it is a mystery, so you need to figure it out for yourself. But it is a wonderful read. The next book that I read and finished for the month of November is The Art of Laney by Paula Stokes. This was another rom-com for me, and I loved it. It was wonderful. It's about a girl whose boyfriend breaks up with her, and her best friend use the Art of War book to kind of establish a plan to get him back. And she ends up using a guy that she works with to help her and pretend to be her boyfriend to help him get his girlfriend back. But it is a really great read, and I loved it, and I really hope to read another book in this series if she makes it a series. But again, that is The Art of Laney by Paula Stokes. And the last book that I finished in the month of November is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow I think it's Royal or Roel. Anyway, I've been in the rom-com mood, and my book club was like, oh, you should read Eleanor and Park. That's all I have to say. I loved this book, don't get me wrong. It is a wonderful book. It left me feeling just blah afterwards, in a funk, and I didn't really want to read anything. And I'm still kind of blah because I finished it, only 3 days ago. But it is still a wonderful read, and I'm very glad that I read it, but I was kind of mad at them, and I was like, I told you I'm in a romantic comedy mood, and you tell me to read this? This is not, ugh. But anyway, it was still a great read, and I am grateful that I did read it. But it is depressing. Anyway, so that concludes my November wrap-up. So overall, I read 9 books in the month of November, which is pretty awesome for me because I'm still in school, and actually finals are this week and... Sorry, my cat's knocking my... Okay. The finals are this week and next week, so then I'll have a month off of school, and I'll be able to get a lot more reading in, hopefully. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I'm proud of myself for 9 books in the month of November. And that leads me to my TBR for the month of December. The first book that I plan on reading and finishing in the month of December is a book club book, and that is The Fall of Five, which is book number 4 in the Lorien Legacies, and I'm really excited. I'm in the middle of this already. I do love this series, and I can't wait to see where it goes, and it is a wonderful read. But that is The Fall of Five. Sorry, my cat keeps wanting to knock over everything. By Pittacus Lore. And then the next book will be another book club book that I have to read, which is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. I don't really know a whole lot about this book going into it. I just know that I have to read it because it's a book club book, and I can't not read it. But other than that, I hear good things, but we shall see. And then the next book I plan on reading in the month of December, and actually the entire series I plan on reading in the month of December, is Cinder, book 1 in Marissa Meyer's Lunar Chronicles. And then, of course, book 2 and 3 are Scarlet and Crest, so I'm very excited to dive into those and get those completed. I hear wonderful things about them. I know there's another book coming out next year, and I hear that it's going to be horrible waiting, but that's okay. I still am really looking forward to reading this. And then because it was on my TBR for November and I didn't get to it because I read everything else but it, this month I'm hoping to get through Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan, which is the final book in the Heroes of Olympus, and I think that's why I haven't put myself into it yet, because I'm so scared of it ending, and I love that series, but I have to do it, and I have to read it. So this month I'm hopefully going to get through that. And the last book that I'm hoping to get through for the month of December is Anatomy of a Misfit by Andrea Portes. And I actually met her, and this is a autographed copy of it. So I'm excited to read this. I had no intention of reading it until I met her. And now that I'm in the rom-com mood and just the contemporary mood, I'm looking forward to reading this. I hear wonderful things once again about it. If you have read it, just let me know in the comments below if you loved it or if you didn't like it. But I know I am looking forward to reading this. And then hopefully any other books that I can get to in the month of December before school starts, I will welcome them with open arms because I have so many books to get through in my TBR pile. But outside of that, thanks again for watching, guys, and I'm looking forward to doing my next video, which is going to be an unhauling video. I just looked the other day, and my shipment should be here by Saturday, hopefully, so look forward for another unhauling video coming soon. Don't forget to subscribe below and like, and leave any comments so that you guys have about anything that I discussed or any books that you would like to suggest to me. Outside of that, thanks for watching, guys, and have a wonderful day. Happy reading!